comes to a point now, it's very hard to live on ads. YouTube ads is impossible to live on YouTube unless you've got 1.5 million subscribers and an average view of 30, 40, 50,000 views. Then you can make a consistent income. Because the cost of keeping a YouTube channel with all your kits, with all your video editors, man, they're the most expensive skill that you can find, like good video editors to secure them full time. It's very hard to find unless you do it yourself. So it comes to the point this year, I think since 2020 onwards, if you do not produce a product, when I say a product, like a coaching course or a membership or release a book, you are not going to make any money, like a sustainable income.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Airbnb Nomads podcast. And on this week's Property Education Masterclass, we're with the amazing Alex Coe. Now, have you got any interest in building a side hustle on YouTube, for example, or learning how to harness the power of AI as we move forward in this ever-changing, crazy world? Alex is going to talk about his experiences with building a content channel and using bots, for example, in order to build almost 100% passive side hustles. If you're into your tech, this is where you want to be. So stick around and listen to the entire episode. It's really, really interesting. On that note, guys, if you are inspired by this episode, if you enjoy this episode, please do head over and follow the show. It really, really helps us out. And leave a review, most importantly. If you've got any questions about service accommodation or property in general, just pop them in the review. We'll pull that out and read you out on our midweek podcast, the Airbnb Nomads Toolbox. Until then, settle in, get comfortable. I can't wait for you to hear this one. It's really, really interesting. Here we go. Alex, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invite today. Hot day.
Good to have you here, mate. It is. On one of the best days of the year, we're sitting in a dark room doing a podcast, but you know what? It'll be worth it. So wanted to have you on for a couple of reasons. First thing is you're a very good friend of Pooh, my business partner. Most of you guys who follow our content online will know Pooh. He's very, very well known in the serviced accommodation space. I've had him on here anyway to talk about his story. So that's one thing. Second thing is we're going to get into the dark, mystical world of content creation, YouTube specifically. And, you know, we see an endless amount of this now on our own social medias. People, you know, telling you, offering courses, how you can make money on YouTube, build a big following, use it to potentially supplement your income alongside your full-time job, which you do and which you've been doing for a very, very long time. So we can jump into that. So super excited. I know there's a lot of people looking to go down that road now because there are some big opportunities as content creators. Let's start at the beginning. Take us back to tell us the story about how you met Pooh in the first place, because it did make me laugh telling me before we came on.
Yeah, so thank you very much for having me on the show.
Welcome, brother.
Pooh, good friend. I met him in 2000. We met in university in Liverpool, and lots of drunk nights. Hey, we were young. Could do whatever you want.
See, I said to you out there, and those of you that know Pooh that have been with him on the trainings, I can't imagine him ever drinking more than half a beer.
No, that's the case since day one. Yeah, he doesn't want to drink unless you bring him to a nice R&B hip hop club with some DMX, and then he'll get his dancing shoes on.
I can imagine that even less seeing Pooh at an R&B concert. But carry on.
Yep. So university is where we met, and where we did our university, we worked together hard. And I decided to do my PhD, and Pooh also did his PhD. So we stayed on for another 3 years. So we had a good 7 years, you know, we moved in together, and then we had girlfriends, we had to move out and all that stuff, you know.
What was that PhD in?
We were in the electronics engineering department.
Electronic engineering.
Yeah, so I was doing more industrial, but Pooh was doing something else different.
Just that word just fries my brain, just hearing it.
Yeah, the thing is about PhD is, you know, it sounds pretty cool back then, yeah. But when you finish, you realize that the PhD research is good, but you still have to pay the bills.
Right. So
you need to find a job that gets you a mortgage, gets you a loan to get a car, gets you on a property ladder. It's all about the property ladder, regardless what you do. So we got friends who stays in PhD in research, but you know, you're stuck in a place. But if you want to go to the likes of London or New York and things like that, you you have to find a job that pays.
So what was the reason that pushed you down such a kind of long educational route to get? Because PhD takes what, 7 years?
Yeah, it takes 4 years for degrees and 3 years for PhD. Some people take it between 3 to 5. So I managed to hit it on spot 3 years because my grant ran out. I'm all about the money, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got the grant from day one, worked my butt off 18 months, and then another 12 months, money's going to run out. My professor, he says, you need to publish soon, you need to do something. So I published, I did my part, I finished it off, my thesis, and the month the money ran out, I got a job.
Wow.
And I told professor, see, I've signed a dotted line and I'm off. I'm going to hand in my thesis. I'll wait for my Viva 6 months later. And that's it. Money runs out and I go. So I have to plan my tracks because I cannot, live on loans or money from mom and dad again because, you're old enough, you're out of the house. You need to.
And you told me outside that you're from Brunei?
Yes.
So when did you come over to the UK?
I came in the year 2000. It was when the fancy Y2K where, we're supposed to get shut down by the blue screen, which happened last week.
The world was going to end. Yeah. Ended up happening last week.
Yeah, happened last week. So Y2K. So we came in 2000. Pooh came. I think Pooh was here before then already. He, from Thailand. I think he was here 2 years ago because he was boarding school.
And what was the drive behind that for your parents to move over?
Because Brunei is always a Commonwealth country. And I've met the Queen a few times, not on her, but when she came to visit Brunei, we had to parade on the road with a flag, the British flag and the Brunei flag. So I've seen the Queen like 3 times.
Really?
Like I would say maybe 3 meters. The car passed by and she waved at me. So yeah,
try and sell us some Bitcoin.
That wasn't Bitcoin. So we're always attached to the British colony. So coming to the UK was like a natural progression for us because we went through the British system. So lots of my friends and everybody came to the UK.
Okay.
Unless you're different, you want to be American, then you're off to Australia or
right.
the States. Yeah.
So finishing your PhD, what was your plan? Was to go into the the corporate career, electrical engineering?
So my plan since I picked my university, I always knew that I wanted to go into oil and gas because that's where I came from, Brunei oil and gas. Yeah, Shell, BP.
That's like the epicenter, right?
Yeah, it was the rockstar lifestyle because when I was growing up in the 90s, everybody who worked in the oil and gas, expatriation life, tax-free, final salary pension, all the dreams that when you retire, you have big lumps of cash and shares. Those were the 90s, yeah? And when I joined around about 2007 and 8, I came right at the decline when folks who needs oil? Oil crash. So the crash kept coming a lot more on the cycle. People normally say every 10 years you get the up and down cycle, but it kept coming. So when I joined my career in 2007, I've experienced 3 crash. Yeah, you got the 7, 8, 9 crash, and then you got the 2015 deep crash. Folks lost their jobs, never came back, and then you got the COVID crash. Right. So how is that fair for me joining the career, contributing, and facing 3 huge crashes? So that made me think. I worked my butt off to come to the point where, why am I tied on my hands to? So the biggest fear I have going to work sometimes is, being told that, we don't need you no more, you got to go. Yeah. So that fear is like, I work my butt off to be told by someone higher up with Excel spreadsheet to say, I'm sorry, we don't need you now because the numbers crunch says we don't need.
We're all replaceable, right?
Exactly.
And, it's a good point. It's something that not a lot of people think about is, what happens if there's a change at work and you do lose your job? What's your backup plan? Do you have another source of income? Yes. And also, if you're self-employed, if you're a business owner, and I was having this conversation not too long ago with my friend Steve, very successful business owner, but he fell off his bike, sprained his ankle, and all of a sudden he was immobile, and he is his business. So as soon as he wasn't able to travel and go to the jobs and do the assessments, the money stops. So that's a consequence of being a business owner. Yeah. What is it that drives that? I've got to be honest, I don't know much. I know less than nothing about oil. Yeah. What is it that causes the oil crash? Is it exterior circumstances around the world that causes the oil crash, or is it the oil that causes? Is it the other way around?
I think the main first fundamental is the oversupply. So when oil comes into oversupply, it crashes. Why does it go oversupply? COVID is one. Everything stops moving, oversupply. Right. And if Russia or Middle East starts pumping out loads of, because they've got to tap the control. Yeah? If everybody just decides to open the tap, free flowing oil, the price of oil will slowly come down. It gets cheaper because there are loads of them everywhere.
Simple supply and demand.
Yeah. So, but if they start turning the tap because OPEC or war, then the oil will go back up again. That's why people cause a war and try to push the oil back up again. And in terms of the oil companies themselves, it's the cost. because as you go along with inflation and everything, it costs more and more to drill a well. Like back in 1999, to drill a well, it cost X, but now it's going to cost like 10 times more because the cost of a rental of a drilling ship will be more expensive. Experienced engineers will be more expensive. Equipment, folks, just materials, it just goes up and up. So the cost goes up in terms of capital expenditure. Now we're capped about, before people could drill oil with $2 or $3 per barrel per well. So if you had $100, it's only $3 to produce. But now the capex has increased like 20, 30, 40, depending how you drill. So the North Sea in Europe, it costs about, lifting costs about 25, 30 to lift. So you need to produce, if you produce $50 per oil, you're only getting a margin of 35, 20. Not like the Rockstar days where $3 versus 50. You got $47 profit for every barrel that's coming through.
And they're trying to make that up by obviously passing on the cost to the customer.
Yeah. So we pass the cost on customer. When I say we, because I work in oil operator, and we go to the vendors to buy equipment, they pass the cost on to us.
Just goes down.
So
the
it
chain.
just goes like, it goes on the supply chain. So things get more expensive, and we keep pushing it out, and it gets more expensive. So
and it's no different. It's everything, right? It's property as well. You know, with landlords, I'm a landlord. You know, every single person that comes out to do a job in one of my properties, fix a pipe, change a tap, put a new shower in, it's a hell of a lot more expensive than it was a couple of years ago. So then what do I have to do? I'm getting squeezed by them. I'm also getting squeezed by the banks. So naturally, I have to pass that cost on to the tenants. Rents go up. You know, it's no different.
Yep.
It's the same around the world. So was you one of these guys that's like flying in on the helicopter to these rigs?
Yes, I used to fly in back in 2010, 11, 12, before I had my kid. We used to fly offshore. So 2 on, 3 off. It was a good old days, you know.
Wow.
We still have to pay tax because we're in the country. You fly in 2 weeks and you're off for 3 weeks. So that was then I spent lots of time in London because that's why my wife was working. And and I remember back in 2011, I think, we were again on the newspaper because there was a huge gas cloud. The platform just burst, gas started leaking because there was an error in the material or the column drilling. Yeah. So it's dangerous. It's nice to go out there. People work together well. You got great food and everything. But when things goes wrong,
and this is a really, really stupid question. But I spent a decade working on super yachts. So when I think of being at sea, I just imagine, you know, like living on a boat, right, rocking and rolling. But when you're on one of these rigs, they're completely solid.
No, solid. The ones that we are on platforms, they're either 3-legged, 4-legged, or drilled down.
Okay.
Onto the floor base or floating barge, but they are very, very stable. So you're not like when you're on the boat.
You're not rocking.
No, unless it's a huge storm that you see big, huge waves. But you're still there. You can feel the movement, but not as much as you're on the boat.
So what would the plan be if, I don't know, there was damage, the thing went over in a big storm? Have you got like boats ready to go to rescue the? So
you get lots of like method, the weather data. So you get like the weather, the boat. So if anything goes wrong, everybody gets told.
Get off
on the platform. And then you've got your backup plan. I think there's a thing called the 100-year wave in the North Sea. So that's when if a huge wave came, like a huge tsunami, they call it a 100-year wave. That's like the worst risk, that worst major accident hazard risk. Then if that comes along, then
so would the last one have been in 2004? Would that be considered a 100-year wave?
I think there was one back a few years ago, but I don't class it 100-year wave, but because it caused a lot of damage to the legs and people had to get evacuated off the platform. But a real 100-year wave would just wipe out the whole entire...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was in Thailand for the tsunami on Boxing Day 2004.
Wow.
And I was working at a scuba diving resort in Koh Tao in Thailand, in the Gulf of Thailand, in the East Coast. And obviously the wave came from the west. A huge landmass of in between us and the wave, because we was on the other side of the country. But even there, we saw a huge change in the water quality. Even there, it turned like muddy and got all churned up. Even, but yeah, I had a lot of friends that were working over on the west coast. That were telling stories about, because every morning we used to push the longtails off the beach, so we'd fill up the longtail with all the scuba tanks, and then the dive boats would be anchored out. Yeah. So we'd have to push the longtails off the beach with the boat boys, the local boys, and we'd go out with them and move the tanks into the dive boats. And they were saying on this particular day they're pushing the longtails out, and it's just like as they're pushing the boats out, the water's just retreating.
Yeah.
And they're like, obviously, they're educated Westerners. They knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So that was when they were like, guys, there's something seriously wrong here, and they obviously turned around and took off. But a lot of the locals, that weren't educated, obviously as the ocean retreated, they just saw loads of fish flapping around. They just went running out to feed their families, and then obviously the rest is history. So that's how a lot of people died that day.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
So completely understand about these waves. And one thing I've learned working on boats and diving and being around the ocean and the weather is you don't want to mess with Mother Nature, man. No. She'll put you in your place real quick.
Yeah. So apologies for just now. That is 100-year wave example. I thought you were talking about somewhere in the North Sea, but the one in Thailand, that's definitely 100-year.
Brutal.
It's brutal. I think in like corporate companies, anything damages that's above like $25 million, that will be classed as like major accident. And the classification, it's like the red alert.
How are those rigs attached to the seafloor so deep?
You've got semi-subs, like submersible, which you got like a huge big plastic bubble, not bubble, concrete that floats up, and then you anchor them down. Or you've got like shallow water depth field, where you actually, all the legs, when you see the drilling rigs, they come up the platform, they got legs sticking up, and what they do is they just transfer the legs down, like three-legged, and then nail it to the sea.
So those rigs are only on 3 legs?
Some are 3, some are 4, some are huge concrete columns. So it's depending on design. So like the likes of BP, Shell, Exxon, they've designed like various different platforms for the condition of where you want to locate it. So,
and who do they pay? This is not a podcast about oil, gas and oil at sea, but I'm interested. Who do they pay? Let's say BP, they discover this well, however far off the North Sea. Who owns that? Who do they have to get permission from? Who do they pay?
The country, the region. So whichever, like Africa, you see like Brazil and West Africa.
Yeah.
Those seas are full of oil, even down to South Africa. And the thing that folks like about it, because the closer it comes to land, it's shallower as well. It's easier to drill.
Yeah.
So speaking to like geophysicists, reservoir engineers, they've mapped it out. So they sent a boat here with loads of huge sonars, like $1 million, $2-3 million to do that campaign. They launch huge sonars on the big fishing nets, like fishing nets, but sonars, and they just sweep along the sea.
So they're working with the fishing boats.
Yeah, tugboats or big boats.
Because they're out there anyway.
Yeah, they do a campaign where they just fish and they map sonar down to the seabed, and they can map and sort of seismically check your 3D persona of what you have under the bed. And does it tell them also if there's oil in that part? They don't look at the oil, but they look at different rocks and sediment. I'm trying to be an expert here, but I'm not. But that's how I hear conversation. The rocks and sediments and porosity of the rock. And they know certain rocks would retain water and certain rocks retain gas and certain rocks retain oil. So when using this 3D seismic, before it was just black and white, then they had color. And they turn into like 3D formation over time. And they try to guess where the oil and gas is located.
Right.
And they don't know, even though when they look at this huge fancy 3D model, they wouldn't know until they drive a drilling rig, speak to driller whether they can do directional drilling, whatever drilling, go in and tap and try to bring the pressure up and see whether it's gas. It's basically just go a blind test.
Wow.
But you put lots of smart people in the room to try to interpret the data.
Yeah, of course.
And the more smarter people agree, then that's the way.
And then at some point they put that thing down and it just goes.
Yeah. So in the oil and gas, the engineers are not important. It's those smart people that look at all this seismic diagram and try to make a decision.
Is that what you were doing?
No, we were like the topside guys. We were the guys that brought, when you find oil and gas and everything, we bring the platform in and everything topside, process, instrumentation, electrical. That's what I come in on the top side. So oil and gas, you got a top side, you got a subsea, and then you got a below the sea deck. So there's like different departments for it. So the important guys are the ones that can tell me gas here, oil here.
It's a really interesting world that I know nothing about it, but it's very, very intriguing.
Yeah, but it's all locked away by these big corporate companies. Yeah, all these skills, Shell, BP, Exxon, Chevron, they've locked in all this key exploration. Exploration is exploration, drilling, and then production. So it's this exploration bit where all these big oil operators are the experts on how to educate and make sure that the next generation people pass on the information. And this is the thing that if oil and gas ends like tomorrow, exploration ends tomorrow, experienced guys, you can't explore no more. Unless robots comes in,
So what's your thoughts about, where we're going in today's world, wind power energy, no more drilling, natural gas. What do you think about that? Do you think we're ever going to get to a point where we can exist without drilling for oil?
It's hard because the demand for energy is going up and up and up now, especially with the AI, data center, NVIDIA, Amazon, Facebook. Everybody's trying to generate productivity via computers. And that is driving energy up, and it will drive the oil price and gas price even higher because the demand is there. Now they tell us that we need a whole full warehouse of power demand to meet a computer. They can produce a movie without actors.
Right.
Have you seen this Sora, my Chat GPT, this Sora platform? So you got Chat GPT, which is large language model, but they've got a Sora platform that's on top of it. And to drive that, I believe to drive one cluster, you need 40 megawatt. And what's 40 megawatt? 40 megawatt can power up to, in the UK, I would say about 80,000 houses. 80,000 houses get powered by a day and use the energy on a platform that produce a movie. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, but without actors. So this is where we're going. So where I'm coming from, I think the demand for energy will keep soaring, will keep increasing. And we need windmill. It's not going to keep up. Renewable will not keep up with the demand that we need in anticipation for 2030.
You know what? That is something that I've never even considered. And I'm pretty sure that no one listening has considered that as the rise of AI and computers, and your brain doesn't immediately connect computers with the need for energy because you just think, well, you just plug it in. But it tracks back, right? To the electric, how's the electric created, and it all feeds back to oil.
Yeah. The thing is, when Elon Musk came in 2012, 13, 14, is storage of the energy. Okay, we got oil because non-renewable, like charcoal, oil, you can just get instantaneous spur of energy, yeah? But like with the sun, with the wind, you need to store it somewhere. So that's why Tesla came in with huge, big battery storage power packs for your home and everything. If you need it, then you release the energy that you need. But now we came to a point where we need a huge demand load, where we need consistent load output of megawatt or gigawatts to sustain. And I think all the windmill, correct me if I'm wrong, all the windmill combined in the UK, I think BP or Shell combined, I think we're only surpassing a couple of 100 gigawatt of energy. And with the data center demand in 2030, that's not even enough for one company alone. And we're not talking about just in the UK, like everybody in the world, Indonesia, Malaysia, India, Germany, everybody's building this data center. So it's not just America. So ChatGPT, remember the days where if a government had something, it's only certain people that can use it?
Yeah.
But ChatGPT, everybody can use it.
Yeah.
The storekeeper down the road, the train station operator, the policeman, everybody can use it. It's open to everybody. So the demand of people feeding is like Netflix. The growth sprout is like Netflix growth. And to meet that demand, the energy supply has to exponentially grow.
So do you think that we should be scared of AI? What's your thoughts on that?
We should be scared if we cannot control AI. Meaning, like the first round of people that are scared of AI is people who are scared of AI losing their jobs. Like, I'm scared of AI because I'm going to lose my job. I can confidently say, I put my hand that my job today will be replaced by AI in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's scary to think that I will lose my job, but I have to embrace it. Embrace it meaning what I'm doing is I'm building a chat bot to try to replace my job sooner because I want to gain control of that prompt, that I know what I can control. So rather than me, because now, for example, if I need to do a job, I need 2-3 other junior engineers to do my job. But what if I create a bot that can do it faster and no emotion? I don't have to go and give a bit of a...
But that obviously you've got the knowledge to do that. But for the vast majority of us, like we don't have that knowledge. We don't even know where to begin. So what would you say to someone who's in a job now, or even worse, training to learn a job that no doubt will be replaced by AI in just a few years? Bus drivers, taxi drivers, stacking shelves, accountants. Where does it end? What can't be replaced by AI? As far as I can work out at this point, really it's just tradespeople, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, these people that at the moment can't easily be replaced by AI, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. But everybody else, it's over.
All I can say now is skill up, equip up, because one is available. I can go home, you can go home today and go to ChatGPT, Perplexity. You can create a bot, pay 25, go to ChatGPT, you can create a bot and do a specific task for you automatically. And
but most people don't even know what a bot is,
yeah,
let alone create one.
So a bot is basically, it's basically getting somebody. So I'll give you an example. So I bought a course online. I'm not going to say who. I bought a course online, and this guy was trying to teach me how to content create. And he gave me a long list, his playbook. Paid 100 quid for his playbook. Great course, 25 hours of media. So he gave me his playbook what to do. The playbook had like 125 different successful tweets that he's done.
Right.
That brought him from 0 to 1 million subscriber. So you know what I did? I took his playbook PDF. I thought, let me try something. Nobody's tried it. Maybe someone has done it before. I went to ChatGPT. I dropped his playbook as a PDF file, and I created a bot in ChatGPT saying, "Can you help me generate content out of this playbook?" And guess what ChatGPT done? Say, what would you like to create? Because his content was based on entrepreneurs starting a 9-to-5 job side hustle, how to become a trainer. So that was his niche. I took his playbook and turned it into a finance social media niche with the bot. So I don't have to sit down for hours at night, go, what can I do with this tweet? Let me change. Okay, tweet number 1, I could format to this. I use the bot and just go to tweet 7, 8, and 9 and change it to finance. Talk about Tesla stock, talk about Nvidia stock. Boom, it came out. I just did a bit tweak. 25 minutes, I'm done.
No way.
So all I'm saying
crazy.
is, I think this is the time for us to get creative with the tools that we have to create the next big thing that you might not know about. For an example, I'm a content creator. I struggled for many years, to go on Fiverr, try to get the right video editor. I'm trying to get the right social media manager. I struggle to get the right person on job, especially with a low budget as well. You know it well. You don't pay well, nobody's going to come and join you. But when 2023 came, ChatGPT and everything came, it helped me. Now I can create content a lot faster. I can generate things and brainstorm without a need of a team. And what made it even better is I could build websites. I could build a database, SQL websites without the need of a back-end engineer, because I can do it through ChatGPT and Perplexity. I don't know what to do, but I can go, please break it down. Tell me what to do, break it down. So last week, I created like 4 new websites. And that included UX, UI, asking the bot, what color, he says, what color would you like? I like white and red background. Can you give me a list of color templates that you need? He gave me a list. He went through the internet to scroll all the big websites and came back with suggestion. And then I started doing, so it's like I've got a bot that helps me create a website. I've got a bot that helps me create content. I've got a bot. So I'm doing all that on my own, a couple hours a day. I can't do it full time because I still got a full-time job. But it's propelling. So I've done content creation for so long. But when 2023 came along, it's propelled me so much more than what I did for the first 6-7 years of my content creation career. So the opportunity is there, the creativity level is there, the hit and trial and miss.
So the message that I'm getting from you is basically get on the train or die, basically.
Get on the train now.
Get on the train.
Everybody's trying it now. Gary Vaynerchuk. I know, Dan Brown, everybody is trying different things to see what they can improve, to stay ahead of the curve. Even what I do now, for example, I do stocks and shares analysis. I create the bots for that. I don't trust them, but at least I've got something that comes, at least I've got on the table something to work around with rather than an empty piece of paper. And I can feel the difference here because I tweet some of my findings online. And I can feel that I'm racing myself against professional analysts that's out there who's trying to get information while I'm also using the same tools as them. So the playing field is level just now until someone, Mark Zuckerberg or somebody, locks up certain stuff for certain individuals. At the moment, ChatGPT, that boy is just open sourcing to everyone.
Unbelievable. And do you think that anyone can learn this stuff? because I think a fear that a lot of people are having of the older generation, and when I say old, I'm talking about me, like 42, right? I might be sitting here thinking, you know, all this stuff, this world, today's world and the way that it's going is for the young guys, you know, it's for the 18, 19, 21-year-olds. This is their world now. And how can I possibly fit into it? And I know that and that's me. How the hell does someone who's maybe 55 looking to start over, who knows nothing about this world, it's terrifying to them. Do you think that even they can learn and adapt into this world that we're heading into?
Yeah, it's going to be challenging to convince someone to try something new, like teaching old dog new trick. Even at home, I'm trying to tell my wife, stop Googling, go use Perplexity and find stuff. Even her, she struggled because she's still stuck on the old ways. Yeah, I think folks in above the 40 will have an advantage from experience because you know what the problems are in life. If you got kids, you know the problem with kids that you need. You got problem here, planning day-to-day stuff, and then you know what problems there are to be solved. But if I was 20 today and I had ChatGPT, I would struggle to think of what needs to be done. Like content creation, for example, yeah, you can see the clear steer that any folks above 35 for content creation are producing educational stuff. Anybody below 35, 20 to 35, they're producing entertainment.
Yeah.
So when you're young, all you care is about entertainment because that captures your attention. But when you're past a certain age, it's all about the education level, is it?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, well, first of all, you know, at what point did you realize, okay, I need to start utilizing the technology that's available today to start building the side hustle? I know that you've been building your YouTube channel for many years and you've got a very large following doing your stocks and shares analysis. What was it that when you was on the rigs and doing the 9 to 5, what was it that made you think, okay, I need to start, you know, thinking of building additional streams of income through utilizing
one is, like I said, is the insecurity of the job. Yeah. And then number two, really like personally, on a personal level, not everybody can get up the ladder in a corporate world. Yeah. Some people get up because he's good at spreadsheets. It's a common one. Some people get up there because he knows how to speak at a certain tone to management and gets up there. So it came to a point where I was working night shift. I was making jobs work to make the job work. Yeah. Carry the load. So folks in a higher position could claim the glory. So that's what we feel every time. You know, you're working hard, but somebody's claiming the glory. Yeah. So it came to a point where it made me upset. And I started arguing with folks because I'm trying to climb up the ladder as well. And it came to a certain point and said, I'm going to work angry. I'm trying to burn bridges with folks. I'm getting unhealthy. And I thought, I need a hobby. And back then, my hobby was just video games. Yeah? Literally, Xbox 360, that was the day. Pooh was the same, you know? We were just on video games, but we had to quit.
What about the Nintendo Game Boy and the Sega Mega Drive, dude? Come on.
Those were the days. Once you get online, you just get a bit competitive. So I think the turning point for me is I need to be in control. I needed to be in control. And content creation was the only way. It was like meditation for me. I attended a course 3 weeks ago, presentation course. I attended because the company said it's free. I attended a course. I did a presentation. Everybody loved it. And the boy said, why are you doing a presentation course? You're already very good at presenting. And I told him this. In my line of job as a technical engineer, I don't have opportunities to stand up and present. I get really happy. It's like singing on stage, yeah? I don't get opportunity at work to present because I'm the guy who gets the stuff fixed, send an email, the technical reports. That's what I'm doing. I'm not allowed.
In the background.
Yeah, the background working guy. I'm not there to go present, welcome. I've got a brand new idea. Let's break through. I don't get the opportunity. So to go content create on YouTube is my opportunity to be in control. That I can show, it's a meditation. I can show people what I can do outside of work. And ever since I did content creation, I was a lot happier at work. Why? Because 5 o'clock when the clock's out, I'm gone. I'm doing my own stuff. I don't care about work. I'm not going to be stressed out. I'm not going to go and say, oh, this guy's not listening to me. My team is not playing it. And when I clocked in at 8:30, 9 o'clock, I go and I do my job all the way to 5. I clock out. That's me.
So it's like you close that door and now you're opening the door to this other world.
Yeah.
I
so I struggle. I remember when I was working, folks in the team, group projects, heart palpitation, you know, and it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth like risking your health, life, mental, everything into work. So I had to do that clear segregation where the side hustle philosophy came in. So content creation, YouTube, that made me happy. I can assure that, yes, there was no money being made in content creation. I did my stocks and shares to help me keep up with the income. But it made me happy. Going to work was a lot happier. I could have a fight with someone at work, but when the meeting finishes, I come out with just normal guys just doing a job. But some folks hold that grudge in because their life is revolved around work. I had to let it go. And the only way I let it go was this side hustle culture where I found the passion, something I like to do. And it was content creation.
If you love to travel like me and you understand the power in escaping the money for time exchange trap, but you just don't know how to do it, then building an Airbnb consultancy business could be exactly what you have been looking for. Right now in the UK, there is a completely untapped opportunity through helping struggling Airbnb hosts by turning around their underperforming properties and generating you huge commission payments in the process. We are going to teach you all of the tools and all of the techniques that we've learned over the last 5 years through building our very own multiple six-figure Airbnb business, arming you with everything that you need to swoop in and save the day. Minimal startup costs, zero risk, and almost unlimited potential. Sound good? Welcome to the Airbnb Consultant. Contact us through any of the channels included in the studio notes to get the conversation started. And the content that you create, and we'll get into that now, is it's all around stocks and shares analysis. So you was investing presumably when you was at work. You was building up a stocks and shares portfolio, and then you decided, I'm just going to take this online and start basically. And it's the beauty of the online world, isn't it? You can go out there and you can teach and talk and present about anything that you want. And pretty much anything, if I want to go on there, I'm just looking around for an example. If I want to go on there and start talking about, these beautiful glasses, right? And all these different types of glasses, I could go and start a YouTube channel and every day I could talk about this glass, and this glass is nice because it's round and and it holds this much water. I'll get views because, there's that many people out there on these platforms and there's so many niches that you can go into that anything's possible.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
So you went out there and you decided to start talking about stocks and shares.
Stocks and shares. I got inspired by the story which I read in an article back in 2015. It was a magazine from Hargreaves Langston. Yeah, that's my broker. And what Hargreaves Langston said that in the UK we've got the ISA. When the ISA first came out, it was like £2,000. You could invest tax-free. If you invest £2,000 and you made $1 million, it's fully tax-free. So I thought, So ISA went on for like about 12 years. And they did a survey and they found out in the UK, there's 1,000 millionaires. Millionaires, like literally 10 years, overnight millionaires. And total invested back then was around about 150 to 180 because the ISA, the max for 10 years back then, it was about 150. So imagine putting 150 grand for 10 years between 2000 and, was it 4 up to 2013, 14. 1,000 people got no clue, just bought index and individual stocks, made $1 million in the bank.
Tax-free.
Tax-free. They could just withdraw and buy a car if they want. So if today your ISA, let's say for example, a year ago, NVIDIA stock, the person who's responsible for all the AI, went up almost 10x. So if you bought the dip right in 2022 December when it was $100, today it's worth about 1,200, well, almost 12x. If you put 100 grand, you got 1.2 million. It's all tax-free.
Wow.
So that's the beauty of ISA in the UK, which people don't take advantage of, where you can put money and you can take it out then. You don't have to wait till you're retired to take your money out. So that's where I got inspired. Reading an article, I thought, you know what? There's not much financial information on Google back in 2012, 13, 14. When I was investing in stocks, I had to pay somebody for news. It's not like back then Twitter, everybody put out like the hot stocks, the hot movement and everything. Now you get it everywhere. Back then you had to pay the blogger. Bloggers, you get famous bloggers that you have, like Samurai blogger. I think one guy you had to pay access information of him.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that his information is right. So then that's where I started going, I'm going to do this for free for everyone. I'm going to share what I have. I'm going to share, make some infographics. And then it was nice that some people came back and emailed me saying, oh, thank you very much. That was helpful. And I revolve my content focus on families because there are lots of families out there, hardworking individual who did work their butt off, husband and wife working, no time with their kids because they're working overtime and all that stuff. And they don't realize there's an avenue where you can actually put your savings into investments, stocks and shares, and let it grow. What's funny enough is if you, I don't know if you remember the iPod.
Yeah. Who didn't have an iPod?
The
Everyone had an
iPod, the
iPod,
click
yeah.
wheel,
Yeah, spin the little wheel
the
around.
clicker. Do you know how much the iPod cost you? 500 quid or something? 400?
Yeah, it was up there when it came out. It was expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me start two things here. Let me start. The iPhone 3, I think was iPhone 3, one of the most popular iPhones, iPhone 3. Back then was 499, 500 quid. If you did not buy an iPhone, you bought Apple stocks back then, 2007. Today, you'll be having $30,000 in the bank from $499 investment. That's a lot, yeah?
Yeah.
But when the iPod came out in 2004, 2003, the iPod, the click wheel, if you put 10 grand, just 10 grand, yeah? I'm not saying everybody's got 10 grand spare. If you put 10 grand, it's worth $1.9 million today. And what do? You just bought it and just let it do nothing. That's it. And what made it even funnier is the dividends that you get from that share today will generate, I think, around about $5,000 to $6,000 per year. So what you put back in 2003, every year you recoup that back at like interest dividends.
I saw a social clip. I think it was yesterday. I think everyone saw it. It went viral. It was about a guy that back when Bitcoin was just getting started, he bought a pizza with 50,000 Bitcoin.
That's why they call it the Bitcoin pizza there.
Oh my God. And he said it was worth like 80 million today.
Yeah. Some of the crypto early crypto investors made life-changing money in the last 12, 13 years. And the whole thing about this Bitcoin crypto that came in, it came in right after the financial crash in 07, 08, 09. And somebody wrote like a white paper.
Who's the guy? Wasn't there like some mystery
Satoshi?
No,
nobody knows who it is.
He's the guy who started it.
Yeah, they call himself Satoshi Bitcoin, but very Japanese origin. Nobody knows where he came from. But a lot of people, the whole crypto, Bitcoin, before crypto came along, Bitcoin started rifling around about 2008, 2009, more in New York Stock Exchange, where you need a big place to buy in before you could blow it up. So loads of traders in New York Stock Exchange, they heard about crypto. Some of them bought in, some of them didn't. And some of them still holding till today. 10, 20,000 Bitcoins.
Again, I know less than nothing about any of that world. I can't wrap my head around something that isn't like tangible. Like that's why I like property. Like it's there. You can touch it, feel it, see it, walk around in it. But when they talk about mining Bitcoins and all this stuff,
yeah,
I'm like, what? It's not real. How can you dig up something that doesn't exist?
Yeah, I know. I had this chat with Pooh, tangible, non-tangible. So for me, it's the complete opposite. I had bad experiences with properties.
Yeah.
The last 2 properties I owned, I sold before I came to London. I made losses. So experience with I always buy somehow at the high and sell it at the low.
Yeah.
So for me, selling a property or getting rid of property is hard as well because the implication tax. But for me, buying intangible assets, like I could buy and sell a stock now. I could pick up my phone and show you how I buy and sell it the next minute. And that's how fast I can do it.
Can you make money like that? You can buy something trading now and...
Yeah, that will be like day trading or Forex trading, which I do less because it's quite demanding. You have to be on the screen. But I do more... Principle-wise, I do more long-term investment. I buy the good quality stocks at the right time, sort of like try to buy the dead moments and try to ride it out. If I need to cream and take profit, I cream and take profit and try to re-enter again. Mm-hmm. So I'm more of a long-term investor or sometimes swing trading. Swing trading meaning you buy low, sell high. Because it comes to a point, end of the day, you read about the stocks and share. I read about the stocks and share every day. Before I came here, I was reading about what's going to happen with the earnings today. Microsoft is doing the earnings today. What's the anticipation for it? And you get itchy fingers trying to, I'm going to buy some just for the risk off trade or risk on trade. We do that. But for my persona, I need to go long term. We're buying this for the long term. Buy companies that your children, when they become adults or they have their own kids, they will also have the company still around, like Microsoft, Apple.
Yeah, I know that about you guys. You know, you guys that are in the stock market and buying all this stuff, you've got to be a really good researcher. You've always got to be on the button, reading the news, learning about companies. That's why I know it would be awful. my friend who I was telling you about outside, who's he's a big time trader, and he's constantly researching. He's on Bloomberg News, like he's a big guy, and I speak to him about it. I'm like, how do you do it? He's like, you got to read. You got to read every day. He's reading, learning, studying, and analyzing.
Yeah.
I man, just for me to read a book, I'm like, I need pop-up pictures, and it can't be more than 10 pages. I'm good, but outside of that, I'd struggle. So bringing it back to YouTube, you started blogging, and I like what you said about you realized. I think this is where a lot of people go wrong now. Is they put out 3 pieces of information, and they're like nothing's happening. I'm not making any money. No, I haven't got any views, and it's like, guys, there's that many people that are out there now getting on this bandwagon. You need to, the Alex Hormozi thing, you've got to over deliver, over provide like tons of value for free and not expect anything back for a while. Like you got to be prepared to play that game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you were saying with your blogging, right?
Yeah. I think the horizon has changed again with the whole content creation game, which I've seen. So like back in 2015, like even YouTubing, back in 12, 13, 14, 16, the last decade, all you have to do was just dish out free stuff, free blogs, just dish it out. At some point in time, somebody will buy you out. Lots of bloggers back in like 15, 16 sold their blog to big companies because the brand was so big, so much field following. Newsletters were over million subscribers in newsletters. They just sold it to companies for a couple of million.
Sorry, how do you blog on YouTube when it's a visual platform?
Oh no, either you blog or you repurpose. You got YouTube and you lots of people started blogging first, just writing content out.
So not on YouTube.
And then they do then people migrate to YouTube.
Okay. So you was blogging where?
I was blogging WordPress and then Quora and like your own website, like Blogspot.
And how were you driving people to your blog?
Driving people blog was hard. You had to, back then I used Pinterest and Quora to drive people in. So I'll write a blog. I'll go to Quora to answer a few questions that's similar to what I wrote. And I put my pin at the bottom. Or on the Pinterest, you do infographics about it and drive traffic to that. And then you do that hoping to make money off Google ads or a sponsorship. You could live on that before, folks were living on that. But it comes to a point now, it's very hard to live on ads. YouTube ads is impossible to live on YouTube unless you've got 1.5 million subscribers and an average view of 30, 40, 50,000 views. Then you can make a consistent income, because the cost of keeping a YouTube channel with all your kits, with all your like video editors, man, they're the most expensive skill that you can find, like good video editors to secure them full time. It's very hard to find unless you do it yourself. So it comes to the point this year, I think since 2020 onwards, if you do not produce a product, when I say a product, like a coaching course or a membership or release a book, you are not going to make any money, like a sustainable income. Like there's a guy in America called Meet Kevin. He started the same time as we, had almost the same YouTube, but that guy rose like 3 million subscribers. And he sold his courses bravely in 2021. To speak to him, you had to pay 10 grand each time. To speak to him, 10 grand. And that boy, he's a property developer as well. He started selling properties. And he just caught on. So he called himself a YouTuber of finance, but he made more money selling courses than his actual stocks and shares.
I think it's mind blowing with YouTube, how some of the biggest earners, I know, like Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
But then isn't there someone who's bigger than him or not far behind him, is like a young kid that like reviews toys, something over in the States, and he, this kid's making like tens of hundreds of millions a year through YouTube, just reviewing toys, and he's literally like 8 years old or 9 years old. Yeah,
he's got his own toy line and everything. But that was the back then. That's why things have changed. If he came up today, he would struggle, that kid. But he came out like around about like 12, 13, 14, where because he blew up so big, and companies were approaching him to give him stuff to review, and people giving sponsorship deals and stuff. But in a day like today, it's very hard. I find it very hard to try to go get a sponsorship deal because...
Yeah. I'll tell you what I find difficult, and you kind of alluded to it earlier, is, we put out a lot of content and it's educational stuff. It's about serviced accommodation, tips, tricks, podcast clips. And I think it's much harder to grow an audience and to keep people really invested in that in comparison to just prank videos or, throwing yourself off a balcony or some dumb shit that they do in America. Like that's the kind of, and I watch that stuff as well. Shammy and Friends, these Aussie, bunch of mates in Australia, they just prank each other and, shave each other's eyebrows off. And it's, they've got millions of followers and they live in a friggin' mansion and they drive McLarens and they're living the life. And I think it's something to do with, when you've had a busy day, a long day, and there's something about just literally turning off your brain and you just take a few minutes and you just watch this dumb shit, that doesn't require any brain power. Yeah. I don't know if that's why that stuff's so much easier to grow than selling stocks and shares. Because if I want to come and watch your channel, I've got to be like in the zone, right? I've got to be tuned in. I've got to be ready to learn.
Yeah, so that's always the challenge, trying to get. That's why I said, for folks who come and watch like my content, which is more of the educational stuff, I need to sell the story first. Even though if I knew I can assure you, I've tried different experiments. Yeah, I'm trying to grow. I tried different experiment by being the guy who's always right, who nails the stock each and every time. You're not gonna grow. Okay, and I tried stuff like shilling, like the latest and biggest news, the trends. I tried that, and you're not gonna grow. But the people that grow, or the only thing that you will grow in educational content is storytelling.
Yes, I've seen that.
That is the storytelling where people associate you with something. Like Gary Vaynerchuk, yeah. I mean, he sells the same story every time. He started his YouTube channel, his dad's wine shop. Yep. He sells it even until today. That's his story. People recognize him as that guy, and this is where he is today.
I love Gary V, but I've got to be honest. I know he's got a huge media company, but pretty much all that I ever see him talking about is, you just got to put out loads of fucking content, and you got to be consistent, and you just got to put out loads of content, and it's like, what is he actually? What is he like? What's his USP? Yeah. What is it? How's he got so massive?
The thing is, his revenue and sales. I'm with you. It's like, how does he make his money? Yeah, his jab. He's always selling the.
I know he
jab.
I know he
right hook. Yeah,
and he advises. He gives his predictions, right, on the next big thing.
Next big thing. But it's his media that makes the money, yeah.
Right.
That his media that he devises the next promotion for a product at a Super Bowl event. He gives he knows the latest trend. That's the thing with him. Because he's consistently on social media. He knows the latest trend. He can guide his clients to jump on the next bandwagon.
Yeah.
He hit it a few times quite big, like the Instagram. He told everybody
TikTok as well.
TikTok. He told everybody go on LinkedIn when nobody wants to do anything for LinkedIn. And I'm sure LinkedIn paid him, yeah. So you got everybody to go on LinkedIn. But when you went to LinkedIn like 7, 8, what do? Everybody's always telling me about my job promotion. I move jobs. I'm looking for jobs.
I've never got on with LinkedIn. I can't.
Same.
I struggle.
I can't struggle. But it was him that told people to go storytelling. So he produces like content. I think he produced like 100 pieces of content every day on LinkedIn. And he grew because he was there every day.
I think this is what normal people struggle with, right? I class myself in that category. I'm a normal guy trying to get ahead, right? Trying to build a business here. And it's so consuming, like putting out content. And, it's all right for Gary Vee to get up on the stage and say, I've put out 500 pieces of content this last month. It was great. You got a team of like 1,000 people.
Exactly.
Right? When you're working, you got a family, you got kids, and not just finding the time. It's like it starts to take control of your life. And sometimes it can really start to affect your mental health as well. Yeah. Documenting everything, recording everything, posting everything. You start to live in like almost this virtual world. And then not only are you posting stuff all the time, when you're not posting, the screen's on, it's open, you're looking at it and you're like, oh, okay, and you're looking at other people, got to compare myself to this person. What's this person putting out? Maybe I could do some of that. So not only are you posting all the time, but you're also looking at other shit as well to give you ideas about what to post.
Yeah.
Before you know it, sometimes I get a notification on my screen, tells me my screen time. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to do like 30 years of my life looking at my iPhone.
Look at TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Yeah, I think these days it's short videos are the real killers. Yeah, you just sit on there endlessly, just scrolling away on stuff that you've got no idea what you've learned from it.
Yeah, go down the scroll hole.
You just go down the scroll hole and just the battery drains because of it, and you plug into the wall, just still continue. But yeah, I try to avoid shorts myself, but I produce shorts because that's the only organic growth that you can get.
Yeah.
So for me, I go down that hole each and every time. So I ask myself, are you a consumer or are you a producer?
Yeah.
So if you content create, you spend more time creating, and so you don't consume. So the days where I do not do videos and stuff, like this last 2 weeks, I've done nothing, but I noticed my screen time has just been on there scrolling. So I need to drag myself out of the consumerism into creator mode again. And trust me, because you're watching lots of YouTube Short, I'm watching lots of YouTube Short last week, and you don't realize that YouTube Short is an organic growth. YouTube Short, TikTok are great organic growth. And so much creativity needs to be put in. Like back then, it's hard to squeeze in a 15-second video, but now we are allowed to put a 1-minute video short. But it's all about the information being punched out in the first 8 seconds.
Yeah. It's the hook, isn't it?
It's that hook.
How do you keep people watching?
It's not just what you say to get the hook in. It's about the editing, the location.
Yeah, because am I right in thinking that, because I find this sometimes. Sometimes I put out a bit of content, think that was really good. That's going to do really well. And it will completely bomb. And, people have said to me that sometimes if the picture quality isn't great or the sound quality is not perfect, the algorithm might push it down.
Which platform was this?
For me, I'm mostly Facebook and Instagram.
Have you tried other platforms? Because I've done this, Same video, Instagram, X, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok. 4 platforms, 4 different results. And Threads. Now you got Threads as well.
Yeah, I don't know Threads.
5 platforms, 5 different results. And I try a second video the next day, same style, and that video, because of that title on that day, does well better on X than TikTok. And these are all not paid. I'm not paying for promotion. So it's all the time of the day, the content, and the platform algo at the very moment. One content will be successful in one, but not the other. So the same video that went really well on my TikTok here, because I was speaking about Adobe shares, which nobody really speaks about Adobe shares. I just spoke about it that day. For some reason, people liked it on TikTok, and it just went ding, 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 ding. In the same video on YouTube, nobody was watching it. I don't know why. I don't know how, but I think like what Gary Vee and just send it all across. I think it's got to do with the color of the background or the music that comes out or something that triggers. But it's the time of the day as well.
And, within our coaching program, I primarily work with them to help grow their brand and to get them to at the very least start putting out content, because the majority of people are embarrassed, they're shy, they're worried, they're nervous, they don't think they've done enough, there's imposter syndrome. And I'm like, guys, you're doing lots of cool shit. You've got to let the world know what you're doing, and not just the wins, but the failures as well, right? Because that's what people resonate with. They start to like you, trust you, then they want to meet you, have a coffee, let's do some business. So I'm always pushing them to put out content, but the biggest barrier is that people don't believe that that anyone's going to watch. No one's going to care. No one's going to want to see what I'm doing. Who the hell can I inspire? And then every single time, once they start putting out content, within a few days they come back and, oh my God, Alex, my inbox is blowing up. People are telling me they love my content. It's like, well, yeah, because people, are going to resonate with you. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're talking about. You might sit there and think, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit shy. I don't have the energy. There's going to be other people out there who are like you, that see you and and they naturally gravitate to you. Yep. So whatever you are, just put it out there. But most importantly, what you've proven, what we was talking about out there, is the consistency thing.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just put out 5 pieces of content and you're not getting 8 million views and you give up.
Yeah.
It's a long-term game.
It's a long-term game.
You got to be committed.
And the funny thing is, looking back my journey to resonate with what you just said, is I still remember the followers, or the fans, I'll call it, but from my first year or so, the people who came and said thank you, I remember them more than the people now, because those are the people that you don't realize there's some people out there, like 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 person that like you so much to encourage you, keep going, don't give up, and they know how you feel, and those people keep me pushing.
Yeah.
But if you don't keep creating content to resonate with those people, you're not gonna not blow up, but you're not gonna grow. So my advice to folks who wants to content create. Just keep trying, because you don't know your niche. You don't realize that some people might like your accent or your hairstyle or the way you carry the camera, or maybe the kids around you, or just the rawness of the way you produce your videos. Yeah.
I really think it's worth sticking with it. I'm not going to sit here and say that everybody that starts uploading every day, you know, is going to start to monetize content, because I think, you know, in reality, you do need, like you said, a hell of a following. You've got to be pretty unique. You've got to have a very, you know, high level production. You can do it, but you've got to commit to it for years. So I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is, if you're consistent with your social media, and as you start to grow a following, and you will, it's inevitable. Might not be 10 million, might be a few thousand, right? Is realistic, but you will start to grow a following. And all that's going to do is help to grow your brand, right? And help to grow your business. And you're already doing the stuff anyway. You're already sitting at the computer on Rightmove. You're already going to Homebase to pick out tiles for the new project. You're already going to sit down with the accountant. So you're doing it anyway. So film that shit and get someone, you know, you pull someone a $5, you do it yourself, learn yourself. There's so many courses out now that you just said, and start to post that stuff that you're doing and document your journey.
Exactly.
And people love that. People love watching that journey, that progress, and it inspires people.
Yeah. You know what's missing? Short content vloggers.
Right.
When I say short content vloggers, that's what I think. Vlogging is almost dead. Yeah, nobody vlogs as much these days because everybody's doing a video. But what if you mix vlogging rather than speak 15 minutes about what you've done the whole day? You just do it short content and vlog at the same time. Like, say you're going to home base. I'm going to home base just now. I'm going to pick a couple of stuff. Pause. Go in, pick up your stuff. Oh, this is what I found. Oh, cheap, great. Pause. Boom. Do that piece in 60 minutes. Squeeze everything down in 60 minutes. You can do it on lots of apps out there where you can film a bit and pause it and then come back and refilm.
So you
don't need editing skills. That's what I'm going to say. There's an app called Captions I actually gave them feedback, good feedback, what they should do. And I shared it on Discord and tell you. So short content vlogging, 60 seconds published. Because honestly, today, it's very hard to push out a content that's like 5 minutes of you chatting away. But if you can squeeze everything down between 45 to 60 seconds with subtitles, people can afford that time to invest in you.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, but we don't have enough vloggers. You know, vloggers, people who just take the random phone out there and just film stuff. Younger generation, they tend to do it more.
Do you think it can be? Do you think that it can be anything? You know, for example, we do service accommodation. Does all the content that I put out when I'm vlogging have to be about service accommodation?
Not necessarily, because the accommodation is there, but they're watching for you, so they want to know about your
personal life too.
Your personal life, your routine. The more you put out there, the better. Because now, if you see all the like my wife follow lots of like ex-vloggers. She enjoys like the journey telling, like before they were a young couple and now they're married with kids. So my wife relates to them, like where they are, because in America they get this, or another vloggers in Taiwan they get this. So she likes to relate different people. So content storytelling, I think it's value out there. I think it's the commodity. Yeah?
You know who does that really, really well? It might not be someone that you know. Do you know Michael Barrymore?
No.
So Michael Barrymore is he used to host God, what was that program called? Hotspot. I can see it on the screen. It was like growing up in the late 80s and 90s. It was like a comedian guy. People will be screaming at listening. But anyway, now he's an old guy, right? I don't know, he's mid-70s maybe. And he literally does that. Like, he lives in London. I think he's moving to Barcelona now to spend some time in Spain. And he literally has one of those sticks with like one of those little 360 camera things. And he just takes it down to the cake shop, takes it to Waitrose, you know, films his dog. This dude gets like 300,000, 500,000 views. Every single video on TikTok. He's on YouTube. And I don't think he's doing it to make money. He's obviously a very wealthy guy. I think he genuinely enjoys it.
Yeah.
And the reason why people watch him is because they can see that enjoyment on his face when he's making these videos. And they're cute. You know, he's like this little old man and he's like, oh, I just ordered some new shirts from Amazon. Let's open the box and see what we've got. And he puts the phone and he holds them up. He's like, oh, this is nice. And he unwraps the neck. It's not like groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah.
but in the comments, they're like, "Oh, Michael, yeah, it's so cute. You say I love seeing you and your dog." And it's not rocket science.
That's it, man.
Obviously, the guy's got a following. He's already famous. I get that. But it's just an example. Like, it's all relative. You could go and do the same thing. He's got 2 million followers. You've got 2,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
But you can have some fun with it.
Yeah, you can have fun. And the value in that is the comments. Lots of people focus on the views and lots of people focus on the traction of the matrix. But what's really key into growth, I think, it's that I struggle with is comments, yeah? People to come and put a comment, disagree with you.
Trolling?
Trolling. Trolls are great, huh?
I didn't have that.
You need trolls. Once you get trolls, you know.
So
in my early days, I used to block them. And I thought, why are you blocking them? Those are the people that
Good
help
for the
the
algorithm.
algo. They're good for the algo. Yeah, so comments, I think it's a commodity, trying to get folks to comment up. But leave your comment below. It's more important than likes, I think.
I've had 2 videos that have done 1 million plus views, and the first one is the one that is the most mysterious to me. The second one I kind of get. It was in here, and I was talking about, life's short. You need to make the most of it, not spend your whole life working. A million people speak about it. Anyway, it lit, and it just went nuts on TikTok. But the first one I did was me, because I go to Spain a lot, and I was at the airport. And I was filming the queue at the Ryanair, at the, getting on the plane. Everyone's like hustling and like pushing, like trying to get on the plane. And I always just sit there and I'm the last one on because I've just got a backpack. It's just me. I'm like, you know what? I'll get on last. So I'm filming it and I asked the question. I said, why is everybody rushing to get on this plane? We're all going to the same place. I just don't understand it. Upload. And this thing just went berserk and ding, ding, ding. Like the comments are just coming in. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And man, I got ripped. Like, you want to talk about getting trolled? I got so many people. And and Pooh is like really, he's like super worried. He's like, oh, Alex, you okay? Like, I'm worried about your mental health. I'm like, this is hilarious.
This is great.
So many comments, talking about, why is this arsehole, what was it, dye his hair and not his beard or something like this? And I'm like, what? I don't dye my hair. And loads of people saying, I thought this guy was Messi before Messi, the footballer. I thought this guy was Messi. I'm like, I don't look like Messi, but that many people have written it. I'm like, this is weird. But yeah, so it's funny. But my point is, I'm like, what is it that makes a video go viral like that? Because it was nothing special. It wasn't a great video production. It was just me and an iPhone. Didn't have a mic or nothing. Can it just
that works? That works on TikTok a lot. I did 2 similar videos. One was taking a taxi. I called an Uber, and there was a huge line of London black cabs, and just spin it around and says, I'm ordering an Uber, half the price. All these black cabs are standing there, so invest in Uber stocks. And trust me, I got abused as well.
I'm sure.
Oh, we're losing our jobs, blah blah blah. And these are the stuff that people like. That's why I said, if you can do short content, vlog style, of you ready raw, editing minimum, maybe with subtitles. That's it.
Does it have to be every day?
If you do it every day, it's going to be hit and miss. But if you do it every day, you get more practice out of it. Then you get the knack of when to pull your phone on and take a record.
Because I think that's what stops people doing it, is they think that making that 60-second clip is going to take 4 hours.
Yeah. And people think that you need a huge kit for it. Like a nice rig, a nice microphone, clip in, nice hair. No, just pull it up raw.
Yeah. You don't need to look perfect. That's something else people
And it's the mobile phone these days as well. Yeah. The 4K recording on the spot, that it doesn't overheat. You can pull it out, wipe the lens. You don't get special cloth. Just go film. That's it.
Get it done.
That's it.
Don't overthink it.
It makes it easy. I want to do it as well. Then you got stressful kids, you got grumpy, But if somebody can do it consistently that way, like with a business that you do out today, I'm going to do this. But keep it short. I think the difficulty these days, so there are lots of folks out there that can do it. Yeah, like good at talking. But if you have the knack to keep it 45, 60 seconds, just bang on the spot, anybody will invest their time to watch you. But if you drag it on for too long, I fall for the trap as well. I go for 3-4 minutes and absolutely no views. If I go straight to the spot and in my head say, okay, this is my message, tell them right up front, bait them in, explain to them, pump, spin off, and then leave, go.
And do you think that every video that you put out has to have like a really clear, focused message? Because I think that's something else that people are like, I don't know what to say. I got nothing.
Not really.
It can literally just be you going to the shop for a paper.
I did one. I did one. It wasn't like huge, but I did one where I was test driving a Tesla car. So literally just me, oh, I'm at Tesla just now, what I'm going to do. And then my daughter walks in, spontaneously speaking the video, cut, 45-second shot. That got more views than my like proper educational
Your stocks and shares
It's
stuff.
like, why am I wasting my time here? You see where I'm coming from? But you get lots of organic growth, like people who don't know who you are, but they want to watch you and Tesla. They want to watch you and a Q. That's the only organic growth that you can get. I think that people are missing out. So you're there trying to say, okay, I'm a coach, I'm trying to sell this, blah, blah, blah. But they need to know you before they click on the video.
Sure.
But if you want somebody who don't know you, organic growth, you need to do something relatable. Supermarkets,
Yeah.
spree.
And this is something else that we bang on about with our mentees is, if you're not posting anything and, let's say that you're at a networking event and you're looking to fund a deal and you meet someone who might be interested in funding you and you go for a coffee, first thing they're going to do when that investor gets home is go on Google and look you up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever. If they can't find anything on your socials that reflects what you're saying you can do for them, forget about it. You've got no authority.
You've got no authority, no trust factor.
Yeah. If your newsfeed is full of you at the park with the kids, or down the pub with your mates, or at the last football match, it's like, what is this crap? I thought this person was a professional property investor, and there's no proof.
Yep. There's no proof. Everybody goes on Instagram and try to track what you've done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So clean up your news feeds and start posting about what you're doing, your job, your business, to build that authority.
And the message he's trying to put out.
Yeah.
I think it's the audience, really. I think people missed out what audience. I wish I had audience from rank 18 to 25, but I don't have the audience. My audience are from 28 to 45. So I have to acknowledge that I'm not going to get huge organic growth from those audience, but they will be there for longer content. So you need to identify what your audience are. If you had a property investor who is 23, 24, 25, young, perfect, they're going to grab audience within that age, because people are going to be wondering, he or she is 24. How the heck did he climb up the property ladder? Was it inheritance? Was it what? What's next? Storytell. You built that storytelling. No, I came from a working class family. I had to work my butt off. I was on the streets. Tell that story. That people know. Don't be embarrassed about it. And
yeah, I love that. Don't overthink it is the biggest takeaway, I think. Just get it out there. Yeah. So Alex, as we start thinking about wrapping up, what's the end goal here? Like where are you trying to get to? You've got a really good following on YouTube. You're into the content creation. We've got AI looming. What's the plan? What are you looking at building or moving into?
There's a lot of things I'm looking into to grow. So YouTube is main, but what my end goal is to build a systematic way of investing, because people worry about investing. Yeah, people go, oh, what do I do now? I've invested. Now, should I sell? Should I go? So I'm trying. It's hard to teach people through videos to make people committed to investment. So I've created a thing called Buy Trigger, my new brand. Again, when you start branding, you start spinning off into new brands. So Buy Trigger is my brand, which I call it, meaning that you can buy a stock without any emotional attachment. Meaning that if a stock hits a certain price, because you've done your homework and research already on that Sunday evening when you're in really good mood, when everything was neutral, you've done your homework, and this is a stock I would buy at this price. Like you valuing a property, you like that house. You say, I would buy that house for 500 grand, but now it's worth 700 grand. I'm not going to buy it. But if in 3 months' time that house drops to 500 grand and nothing changes just because some politician said something wrong, market drop, would you buy that property? Obviously, yes. Yeah. Because back then you said, I'll buy the 500 grand because the return on investment is that. So I'm creating that systematic investing via my website, via some database, via AI producing database for me. So I don't have to hire a crew, and try to churn out something out of it. So I'm creating memberships. I'm creating automatic Telegram that alerts people what stocks are coming up that should be good to buy. So when you have cash and you decide to buy, oh, wait a minute, that's my shopping list. So I'm creating a product out of it. I don't think many people are doing it yet. I'm sure somebody will catch on and try to. But I have to try. Because my end game, yes, making money. Everybody wants to make money.
Sure.
We're not going to lie. But to make money for a purpose to help somebody else, I think that's the end game. That's the goal. For somebody to come back to say, Alex, thank you very much. That really helped me. Alex, thank you very much. I created a portfolio for my 15-year-old, and now I feel more secure. I can sleep better at night. That is more rewarding than... So once you get that principles based, right, that's what I'm doing, hopefully. Because for years, I've been trying to write blogs, different ways to content create, to convince somebody to teach somebody what is great, what is not. To create a product that somebody can use, that is the hardest part of a content creator's role, I think. because I'm not Mr. Beast, I don't sell chocolates in Walmart. So I need to find a way to create something that people can use.
I think it's some people might say it's a bit cliche and cheesy, but genuinely, if you come from a place of wanting to help people to better themselves and make money, and but in a genuine, ethical way, like really from the heart, I swear to God, that's the shit that comes back around, and you will grow from that place. If you're just like trying to sell bullshit products just to make money and rip people off, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. You get, once you're on the internet, you get found out. You get found out.
It's not as sexy. That's what we're going through with our training. We're like, we're going to do it the right way, and we're going to teach you the right things, and we're not going to blow smoke and tell you that you're going to find financial freedom in 6 months. That's the harder way to sell a product. But what we do know is that when people come to work with us, we're going to be aligned. We're going to want to work with them. They're going to want to work with us. The results are going to be realistic. There's not going to be any disappointment. No one's going to lose any money. And in the end, everybody's going to do well. And that's our USP. But it's easier to stand here and say, you know what, guys, financial freedom in 6 months. I'm going to help you lay on a beach and make money without trying. Come and work with us. Buy our course. That's the shit that sells. But, in the long run, it just bites you in the ass.
Yeah, I would agree. But if we all turn around and look at all this long-term influencers or coaches, the one that's long-term out there, the Cardanos, and those are the guys that change lives and people stay with them.
Coming from a good place, like Tony Robbins and these guys.
Robbins, he charges a lot to give lots of free stuff, but a lot of people you speak to, Tony Robbins has changed their life. And what's funny is like the last time we went for Tony Robbins, conference like 12 years ago. Oh my God, he's been around for ages. But
forever.
But he's done it for a purpose. Huh?
I love that guy. Except every time I watch him, I'm like, dude, can you just clear that?
No, he can't. That's just.
Can you just clear your throat, please? Please cough. Do something. Right, Alex. One last question before we wrap up, and it's quite relevant to this subject: social media, content, screens, all that kind of stuff. Is mental health. Because staring at a screen all day, being in the content world, sometimes it can really affect people's mental health. And I know that, personally, looking at screens all day long, it can be all consuming. And, a lot of people at home comparing themselves on social media to other people. I'm not doing enough. I'm not smart enough. This person's doing so much more than me, and I'm crap, and I'm not good enough. It's not smart enough. Do you find any mental health, issues or effects on you dealing with this world? And just, how are you day to day? Are you happy, healthy in your heart and your mind? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I can honestly say that, you go through phases, like troll and things like that you have to deal with, you have to learn. But if you're really seriously committed to content creation, I'm trying to be blunt, honest. It's a very lonely road because you're always there trying to think of what to do, what to produce. I'm sure like Mr. Beast and all, it's a lonely road for them as well, because they're always trying to think of the next big thing, entertainment or educational. But one important thing that really takes you out of this mental health is, do you really want to do it? It's that your main goal. You want to do it for money, or do you really want to do it to help somebody else? So if you really want to do it for a purpose, I think that takes you way above everything else. Whatever things you run into, whatever issues, burnout that you run into, or a job that takes you way across the line that you're so exhausted, you can still wake up the next day to think about the next content you want to create. So it's not something for everyone, but if you enjoy the journey, it's not going to stop you. And don't let those creativity bugs, don't stop yourself from being creative, I would say. Just because somebody did it one way doesn't mean you have to do it the same way. But it's okay to try and copy somebody else from another continent to try it out.
But be you at the end of the day. There's only one you, right? I heard that recently. There's only one you. So, play on that. Whatever it is, whatever you think it is, if you think it's not good, that's just your own negative, words. There's only one you. So it makes sense to be you. And
if you're not you get caught up by the audience really quickly. You know why? If you tried YouTube Live, I've tried YouTube Live. So before my earlier days, when I content create, I tried to put on a certain persona. And when I went on live, the energy was different. And folks saying, you're different.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and I saw that comment. You're different from like your videos in your life. The
Yeah.
energy level seems to be different. So I had to repeatedly tell myself I have to have the same energy
yeah.
level, or else you just get
You get called out.
like Tony Robbins. Imagine he goes back into the pub. Like, oh, I don't want to speak. So you have to keep the consistency. People get caught up really quickly.
Man, great advice, guys. Alex is one smart dude. If you want to learn or have a discussion around, what you should potentially be looking at, as this crazy world evolves, and with AI and technology and membership sites and building courses and building side hustles and generating additional income streams, definitely might be worth connecting with Alex and having a conversation. Are you open to people contacting you? And
yeah, I'm on X, Twitter.
Yeah,
I'm on there every day. My wife say, "Get off X." But
we'll
that's the
put
place to be.
we'll put all your information in the show notes. So all of Alex's contacts info will be in the show notes. And like he's just said, if you've got any questions around starting a YouTube channel, around building bots, whatever that means, about how to automate stuff and move to this place where people are genuinely making money, real passive income through harnessing AI and technology, while you sleep. That is the way forward. Getting out of this time for money exchange thing, that old way of, get up, get dressed, go to a physical place of work, exchange your time, get paid, go back to your house. That's not the way of the future. And if you carry on living in that world and not adapting, man, you're going to get burned.
Yeah. And it's great. So thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Like I said, contact Alex, guys. Very, very smart guy. And yeah, really, really appreciate you coming on.
Yep.
Lots and lots of wisdom, lots of nuggets there. So yeah, fantastic episode.
All the best to you and your successful.
Thank you very
ABB
much.
Nomad.
Thank you.
Almost 1 year now. And
Yeah.
Really,
We're
really well.
We're pushing and yeah, we're excited for the future.
Yep.
Guys, thanks so much for listening and watching at home. And I hope you got a lot from that episode. It was really, really interesting. And take some knowledge from that and start implementing that into your days now moving forward, because shit's going to change real fast. So until next week, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching another episode of the Airbnb Nomads podcast. And we'll see you all next week again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.